Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, good grief. Wherever you are, whenever it is, wherever you're listening, watching. My name is Willie Lawson, and this is the Morning Report, where common sense, truth, and a little righteous far collide. Now, listen, Washington told us COVID money was going to save the country. Y'all remember, right? Everybody was sitting home waiting, just hoping that they wouldn't catch COVID, but they couldn't wait to get that stimulus check, that COVID check, right? But they told us that COVID money was going to save the country, and without spending that money, we were going to be in the soup, right? We were going to be cooked. They said it was for schools, which were closed, hospitals, which were full, infrastructure. Now, how are you going to build bridges and dams and airports when everybody is stuck inside? You remember 15 days to flatten the curve. Remember the song? You remember that really creepy kid that sang the thank you Dr. Fauci song? Remember that? Uh, it just got weird. It turned into 2 years. 2 weeks turned into 2 years to fatten the bureaucracy. So today, here's what we're going to do. We're going to follow the money because, frankly, $4.6 trillion just doesn't freaking disappear. It was spent, cash was siphoned, and you deserve to know where the hell it went. You know, and who profited? Who got it? While Main Street was shut down, while they were making sure that you couldn't go to work because your business ain't essential. The strip clubs were open, the bars were open. Yeah, but your restaurant that serves spaghetti, can't do it. Can't do it. Got to close because y'all killing people, right? Your gymnasium where people go in to try to get healthy, got to shut that crap down. Why? Because y'all killing people, people in there breathing. Now, the strip club and the liquor store, they're fine, fine. The Walmart, fine. But you were shut down. Amazon worked like a charm, right? So who profited while Main Street was shut down? And your kids were stuck at home or were learning on some basically half-assed e-learning program that was thrown together at the end. So what we're going to do is that we're going to explore what we're calling today the COVID cash con. All right, let's just talk some raw numbers. Between 2020 and 2022, our federal government injected over $4.6 trillion into pandemic relief. And all they did was go to the Fed and say, go to the Fed and the Mint and go, print up some money. We didn't have this money. This wasn't money sitting in reserve somewhere. This is brand new, never been released money, right? $4.6 trillion in pandemic relief into the economy. That's more than the cost of World War II when adjusted for inflation. So where'd it go? Billions went to blue state bureaucracies like California. California used federal funds to send $1,200 payments, $1,200 payments to illegal immigrants under their California Dream Fund, like Moonbeam. He's still running the state. New York dumped millions into anti-racism training for teachers statewide while the schools were closed. Chicago, Chicago funded DEI consultants and free housing for illegal immigrants in luxury hotels. Well, that's all New York was doing it. Oh, I remember the LA school district. We talked about that yesterday. They bought a robot dog for over $70,000 with pandemic relief funds. Now, the thing is, the robot could patrol hallways, but not fix the fact that less than 35% of students can read at grade level. They bought a $70,000 robot dog to patrol hallways. Now, all this is crony contracts, non existent oversight in Pennsylvania. A firm tied to a state representative won a no bid contract to manage relief dollars and promptly billed the state $90,000 for equity outreach. Meanwhile, no small businesses were shut out, literally, often forced to close, while massive corporations like we were talking about, Amazon, Walmart, Target, raked in the pandemic profits. Listen, let's be clear. This wasn't mismanagement. This was a wealth transfer, a slow-moving, paper-covered looting of the American taxpayer. So after all that money, why are states still broke? Let's talk California. Governor Gavin Newsom was handed hundreds of $billions in federal aid. He spent it like a man who thought the gravy train was never going to end. But this year, the state is staring down a 45 billion with a B deficit. You know it's bad when even the LA Times starts asking questions. The Los Angeles Unified School District, the second largest school district in the nation, is on the brink. They announced delayed staffing cuts to, quote, save $30 million, but are still expected to run a deficit that's over $400 million, nearly $500 million. Meanwhile, student outcomes have crashed. Absenteeism is through the roof. You know, it's funny, when we came back from COVID, I was talking to parents, I was talking to some teachers, and everybody in just 2 short years sort of forgot how to school. They just forgot how to do school. More and more kids, you know, and you see it with adults too, showing up everywhere in their damn pajamas. What? Put some freaking clothes on. You're going outside. You're going to be around people. You're going to school. Put some damn clothes on. No, you may not wear your bonnet. No, you may not wear your slippers. No, you may not. No, you may not wear your pajama bottoms. No, you may not. People just sort of forgot how to school. And if they come at all, you know, Susie doesn't feel good. She's got a headache. She doesn't feel like going. So they don't go. Absenteeism is through the roof in schools, and not just in California. I wish it was just there, because then we could just build a big fence and shove them into the Pacific Ocean. But it's everywhere, and it's through the roof. In Illinois, the state pension has a state pension crisis. Pensions. The idea in 2025 that here's what we're going to do: we're going to pay you money for not working. Thank you for working for 30 years. Now here's some money, and go home. I'm going to pay you every month. I'm going to pay you every month for not working. And so there's a crisis. Surprise! It's a freaking surprise. Already, it's unsustainable. I mean, it's ballooning thanks to COVID era payroll spikes. Many union workers were given permanent raises. Let me help you again. permanent raises using temporary relief funds. Permanent raises using temporary relief funds. And in New York, Mayor Eric Adams is cutting police, fire, and sanitation service to afford housing and services for tens of thousands of illegal immigrants who are being bussed in by federal coordination and state subsidies. The states weren't just careless, they were emboldened because they believed that Washington would bail them out forever. Now you're feeling it. Inflation, anybody? Fueled by money printing to cover this spending. Skyrocketing rents. Government programs soaked the housing market. School failure. DEI in Zoom classrooms instead of discipline and instruction. Dependency. Trillions created new voter trained to expect handouts. Because people, even now, people are still saying, I wonder if we're going to get, our stimulus check. Are you serious? We have thought about this 10 years ago, 20 years ago, where people were just sitting around. We wondered here in this house because I was still working. I was working from home. My wife was still working. She was working from home. Unfortunately, my son was not working because he can't do his job from home. What he does every day, he can't do from home. It's not possible. And he was like a freaking caged animal. So, but we wondered, how are people living? If you worked at, I don't know, the Piggly Wiggly or somewhere and it was closed, how are you living? How are you paying your rent? How are you on the internet doing this and that and the other? How are you doing stuff? How are you surviving? Were you just living off the stimulus? You were just getting that stimmy and you're just making it last? What was going on? Trillions of voters are now thinking that every time there's a crisis, they need to get a check from the government, from the federal government. This wasn't by accident. This was a restructuring of the relationship between government and citizen. This was part of the Great Reset, which people continue to say was some sort of conspiracy theory. Except if you had gone to the World Economic Forum that you saw on their website. But you and I know once you become dependent on Washington, you are no longer free. And we know that. And now as things go on and we find more and more stuff out, will anybody be held accountable? Well, really, the short answer is no. But that doesn't mean we should stop talking. That doesn't mean we should stop pulling receipts. And it definitely doesn't mean we should stop fighting. Our job now is to call it out, wake folks up, and demand accountability, even if the swamp laughs in our face. Because if no one pays for the COVID cash con, they'll just do it again, or just keep doing it. Next time it may be climate, or maybe gun violence, or equity, but the method's the same. Crisis, panic, spend, control, repeat. Folks, thanks for being with me today. If this program and the things we talked about lit a fire in you, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Hit that subscribe button. Share this episode with your friends. Share this episode with people you don't like. Fightbackmedia.com is a real conservative, it's where real conservative truth lies. My name is Willie Lawson. Again, this is the Morning Report. So until we see you again, go out there and learn something, love somebody, and for goodness sakes, y'all take care of yourself. We will see you when we see you. Bye-bye now.